千里之行，始于足下. A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. Welcome to Tao Talks with Derek Lin, where we take a deep dive into the Daodejing by Lao Zi. As ever, I would like to extend a warm welcome to one and all. Thank you for joining us. I want to invite you to center your thoughts and direct your attention to this moment in time, to the here and now, to be fully present and mindfully aware as we all ready ourselves for this sacred process in the Tao with one another. Reincarnation. You have just earned your degree in humanities. You have just graduated out of college. As you contemplate your next move as a young person, you recall the admonition from your professor. The professor said, listen, graduation is not the end of learning. It's actually the beginning. The time you have spent in college, that was just the preparation. Ahead of you is the never-ending journey of discovery. So as of right now, professor tells you, you have learned only how to learn. The real learning is yet to come. You must go forth and do the real learning. Keeping that in mind, you and your classmates think about exploring the country. You want to do some traveling before you enter society and the workplace. Because you are recent graduates, you are a young person, you have a lot of youthful enthusiasm, but you don't have the funds to travel. What to do? Well, you discover there's an easy way to see the country for free. That's very appealing. You see, car rental companies often have cars that they need to move from one city to another. They allow volunteers to drive such cars. You just had to sign up for that. By allowing volunteers to drive, they accomplish what they want, which is to get cars to a city, perhaps a city that's a major transportation center for travelers to go from one city to another. They want to get the cars there. And for you, it's free transportation by driving from one city to another. Therefore, you see it as a win-win solution. So you and your classmates waste no time at all. You go to the largest car rental company, a national chain called Reincarnation. Now they have many different cars, many different types of cars for its customers, depending on what they're willing to pay. There are a few that are expensive rentals, like sports cars and luxury cars. These are for high-end clients. Most of the cars are basic standard models. It'll get you from point A to point B, but that's pretty much it. So every time you and your friends visit Reincarnation office, you can pick and choose from the cars that are available for driving. Not all the cars are available all the time. A few times you get to pick a really nice car. Most of the time, it's an average standard car. And the number of cars that you can choose from is also limited. And it can also depend on where you want to go, what city you want to visit next. It depends on what the company says. This particular car, we need it to go back to city A. That other car goes back to city B. So you pick your cars and you hit the road. Now, in your trip, in driving from one city to another, it is not unusual for you to become attached to the car. Sometimes you catch yourself thinking, well, this is my car, but it's not really your car because sooner or later you arrive at your destination, you got to turn the car in and then pick another car. So you may feel reluctant to let it go if it's a nice car that you have chosen, but you don't really have a choice. The car doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the company. There's always more than one path to go from one city to another, one route. It's pretty much up to you which way you want to take. The company gives you plenty of freedom and flexibility, and you make your choices at freeway intersections. Sometimes you travel the scenic route, other times you travel the most direct path. Sometimes the best choice is obvious, other times not so obvious. A route that can look pretty good, it can turn out to be backed up for miles due to traffic, due to some kind of congestion, possibly construction or accident. And also, weather conditions can be a factor. Sometimes it gets rainy, sometimes it gets foggy. Your visibility can be severely limited. And you know that even when the weather is sunny and clear, you can see further up ahead, but there's a lot beyond the horizon you cannot see. So more than a few times, you find yourself caught in traffic. It seems like everything's okay one moment, and then the next thing you know, traffic grinds to a halt. Everybody is frustrated. Everybody is exasperated. To avoid situations like this as much as you possible, you tune in to a radio station, WTAO, for the frequently updated traffic reports. They have news helicopters overhead, so they can tell you in advance what the conditions are like beyond what you can see. So a lot of times they can direct you to a much better route, saving time, avoiding congestion. And you also find that the journey changes you. Initially, you and your friends are so excited by the novelty of the experience. You are exuberant as young people. You blast the stereo system. You play that music as loud as you can. You push the car to see how fast it can go. You race one another. You cut people off. Laughing, you flip them the bird and then drive off. You are impatient. You change lanes at the drop of a hat. You're looking for ways to pass every other car that you see. After a while, though, you see this is really kind of silly. The car is just a means to an end. It gets you from one city to another so you can see more. You can experience the country. It's not a toy. Gradually, you learn to respect it. You learn to respect the road and the other drivers. And you've also been taught, and you can see from experience, that when you swerve all over the road, changing lanes, it doesn't really get you to your destination any faster. After a while, you realize that all those quick moves, all it does is give you more stress. It's actually better to flow with the traffic. It's better to relax, enjoy the ride. You still get to your destination, but it's much easier on your nerves. On the road, sometimes strangers will show you courtesy. It makes you feel good. You begin to reciprocate in kind. When some other car wants to merge, you just let them do it. When immature drivers cut you off, it doesn't get to you, doesn't get you mad, because you've been there and done that. You know what it's like. So after touring all the major cities, learning all about the different regions of the country, absorbing experiences that you find incredibly valuable, you can't quite explain why they're so valuable, but they are. After all that, you and your friends decide to return to home, to your hometown, City by city, you make your way back until you at last see the familiar sight of your originating city, your hometown. You return the last car to reincarnation, thinking that perhaps this is something that you can do again in the future. It is the same office where you started your quest many months ago, but everything looks different for some reason. And it's perhaps because your perceptions have changed in the process. When you leave the office, you see the company's large sign, reincarnation. For a moment, your vision blurs and you think you see a different word. But then the moment passes and you turn to join your waiting friends for a well-deserved round at the local pub to celebrate. The end. So what have we just heard? Let's talk about the metaphors. Let's talk about what the story really is. It isn't really about driving from one city to another, as you probably figured out by now. It is speaking through metaphors about existence itself, about the true self experiencing multiple lifetimes, like a driver going from one city to another. So the physical body is a vehicle that takes us from one place to another. It carries us from one place to another. It's like a car. So what is the driver of the car? Well, it is self-nature. It is truly the you that never changes, no matter how many times you change your vehicle. You evolve and change in that way. You become more refined, more experienced, wiser, but you're still you. Therefore, the road trip from one city to another is the journey of life. At the beginning, when you embark, when you leave one office of reincarnation, that's your birth. When you reach the other office, the destination city, that is the death. That is one trip, but it is not the only trip. You've got another trip coming right up after a break. In those trips, more metaphors. What is the Tao? Well, the Tao is the guidance for the best route to take to complete the journey. So the guidance that we get, sometimes we don't listen to it. But if we don't listen to the guidance of the Tao, or if we didn't know that we needed to tune in to the radio station, we end up regretting that because it is very easy to take a path that is backed up for miles. And there are things that we can learn along the way. Listening to the Tao is just one of them. What are some of the other lessons? Well, we know that because the vehicles are not really you and don't really belong to you, like the body, your physical body doesn't really belong to you. Once you see that, once you have the perspective of the story, you can also extend that to life. So just because someone else has picked a luxury vehicle or sports car, that isn't really a good reason for envy. In this lifetime, lacking that perspective, perhaps we look at the rich, the wealthy with some envy, but then we can see from this expanded spiritual perspective that, well, the car that they have chosen, the luxury car, the sports car, they don't get to keep that car either. They don't get to keep that for any longer than anyone else. When the trip is done, they have to turn that in. And who knows, maybe next time you get to pick one of those cars. So when you have that perspective, material things become appropriately proportioned in your perception. It's nice, but it's not everything. So more lessons that we can learn is that karma is a primary method of learning on the road. What you do, what you experience, what happens to you, what you do to other people, these are connected. You cut other people off, they cut you off. You are courteous to them, they can be courteous to you. So karma is a masterful teacher, and that teacher teaches all the lessons thoroughly by using your own experience, by having you experience all the emotions on the receiving end. When you have learned the lessons that karma wishes to teach, you integrate those lessons into your being. They become wisdom. They become part of you. You haven't changed. You're still the same person, but you are a better driver than you were before. You are more skillful with a vehicle, and you are also more courteous and considerate to the other drivers, and you are a safer driver. Better for you, better for your friends, better for everyone else. So what about the lesson in choosing paths? The lesson from the freeway intersections is that there are many, many different junctures in life where you can pick and choose, should I take that off ramp or should I just go straight ahead? You can pick and choose, but once you've made that choice, you're locked into that choice for a while. If you change your mind, you're going to have to go further before you have an opportunity to get off the freeway, reverse course, then come back, take some time to come back to take a different path. That is just like the choices we make in life. We don't always get to pick the best possible choice. We a lot of times need advice. If we make the wrong choice, it takes a while to get to have a course correction. And that's one of the reasons why we study the Tao, so we can minimize that entire process. And thinking about you and your classmates, your friends on the road, you can see we are all here to help one another along this road. And as I said, this is a road that runs through eternity itself. We're all in it for the long haul. So there are many other metaphors that are built into this. I will leave it up to everyone to explore on your own. When I talk about the college, graduation out of college, I am referring to the universal mind, or at least your part of it, gaining a higher level of consciousness and awareness. The degree in humanity is what I'm talking about when I say human awareness, graduating out of college. The classmates I talked about in the story are the soul companions who travel with you from lifetime to lifetime. They are literally your classmates in the lessons of life. You see them over and over again. Some of them come into your life as family members, others come into your life as friends. So I can say with a high degree of confidence that you and I are soul companions. That is the reason why we encounter one another now. It didn't happen for no reason. Now, the rainy and foggy weather that I talked about in the story, I'm talking about life. I'm not actually talking about weather. There's many times in life when we're confused, we can't see that far ahead. That is when, more than ever, we need the guidance of the Tao. So these go on and on. Let me get to some important points. Continue with some important points. I want to close by saying that you can review the concept that we have talked about. First, the the talk on the important slide, Your Nature Through Multiple Lifetimes, is on YouTube. It's about 20 minutes, I think 21 minutes, and you can see it. You can find it quite easily, and you can review that anytime you like to further get into these concepts. And if the metaphor of driving cars from one city to another isn't quite clarifying the whole scheme for you, you can try a different metaphor, a different way to look at it. There is another perspective on this. It's just a different way to talk about the same thing. There is a chapter called Existence from the Tao of Success, 5 Ancient Rings of Destiny. So that is in the beginning part of the book. It's in the first section, easy to find. So even if you understand reincarnation and have no trouble with the metaphors, the representations, the symbolic meaning, you may still find existence to be very helpful in furthering your understanding of all of this. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Let us all travel safely so we can meet again. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.